Oh, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 719 of FloWrestling Radio Live, the Prodigal Son Returns edition. JD Rader's back from Belgrade. You gotta love it. He looks good. He looks fine. Ben Funky Askren's still here. Ben is just on cloud 69,000 because Bitcoin just hit an all-time high.
Another one this week. I think it's the second or third of the week.
Another one, DJ Khaled reference. And it is the Colorado Springs episode?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. The home of USA Wrestling, The Incline.
Let me get this out here, Piles. I got to help the people here. I do a Bitcoin podcast or crypto podcast. And the reason I started it was to help the people. I'm going to help you people because you are my wrestling people, and I love you. Inflation just came out this morning, Christian Piles. Mm-hmm. They said we weren't going to have inflation. Now it's at a reported 6.2%, which means it's significantly higher because they lie on the official number. They lie badly. Mm-hmm. If you have any type of money and you would like to keep your money, you need to buy something that is not correlated to the dollar, which is gold or Bitcoin. Gold sucks, so you should probably buy Bitcoin.
What about classic cars?
Not financial advice, obviously. Those will likely go up in price. Everything will go up in price because there's more dollars. Inflation is shooting up. So not an economist. Just a casual observer of the markets. Buy Bitcoin.
Wow, I love your little disclaimers that you have to throw.
You got to
in
put
there
disclaimers.
so you don't get sued. Yeah. Okay. So good disclaiming. Buy non-correlated. Classic cars. I own every kind of classic car.
Really?
Yeah. Doubles is some of them. Triples are safest. Okay. So yeah, buy Bitcoin. Says Ben.
I know you're a Bitcoiner, Christian. You know who else is a Bitcoiner? David Taylor. He's got some laser eyes.
He is. He is a Bitcoiner. I wouldn't say I'm a Bitcoiner, but I'm
close.
I'm interested in the movement.
Okay.
All right, man. I'm trying to shout out the Springs, and you're trying to shout out internet dollars.
Just the most important thing of our lifetimes, trying to make sure everyone who listens to this podcast doesn't go broke. That's it. Just no big deal.
Okay, that's not financial advice though, because you could totally go broke.
Please don't go broke. Please don't go broke is financial advice.
Yeah,
we love you. We want you on the show.
That's good. That's good financial advice. Shout out Gary Abbott from Colorado Springs too. Maybe my favorite Colorado Springs resident of all.
Really? More than Rich Bender?
Why? That's why are you doing this to me, Ben?
What's up now?
I work with Gary so much more.
Okay. More than Bill Zadek?
Rich doesn't of course, more than Bill Zadek. Significantly more. Okay. So where do we go next? I mean, JD, what's Belgrade? Because Belgrade is where the World Championships are next year.
Correct.
And I intend to go. I don't know if Ben's going to go.
Belgrade, right? Yeah.
Are you going to cash in any Bitcoin and fly to Belgrade, Ben?
You know what? I really wanted to go to Oslo this year. It looked really tremendous, and then I just kind of got busy and had a lot of things going on and couldn't go.
Don't get us started on Oslo.
You thought it was awesome, right?
Oh my gosh, it was amazing.
I want to go. Damn,
best place I've ever been. Yeah, you missed out.
Yeah, I would love to go to Belgrade. Hopefully, though, I will be having a cadet or a junior make the world team, and then I can, I'll be kind of obligated to go to that. I really want to go.
Cadets are in Rome next summer.
Ooh.
Beautiful.
I forget where juniors are, though.
But I really wanted to go with Keegan this year, but UFA Russia, and there was these rules, and it was a freaking disaster.
Yeah.
So
UFA's kind of like that.
Yeah, I would have been supporting Keegan in Rome, but UFA was not traveler friendly.
Yeah, maybe he'll be on the senior team this year.
That would be very impressive.
Yeah. So maybe no Belgrade for Ben, but hopefully cadets. I thought you were gonna say I thought you were gonna say I'm having a kid, and I was like, oh my gosh.
I sure hope not. You never know. You never know, but I hope not.
They found out what causes that.
Well, I know what causes it too, but I tried to, I don't want to do the specific methods that I use, but I try to use some specific methods.
Listen, your financial advice is fine. No insights into your methodology, please.
Hey, I'm 100%. Never had a kid I didn't want.
Well, there you go.
Boom.
That's something we can all get behind. Austin DeSanto maybe on Instagram. I don't know. Look, but there's a
Spencer Lee follows him.
There's a /DeSanto merch. It's very new. It says Austin DeSanto, University of Iowa wrestler.
I think someone hacked him.
It says follow along. Merch coming soon. Follow along for a slow reveal. So follow DeSanto merch. So that makes me think it's not DeSanto, but someone who's trying to sell his shirts.
Yes, unfortunately, because we want to peek into the life of Austin DeSanto.
Yeah,
and what he's all about.
How long can he keep it up of just keeping up the mystery before he can optimally cash in on it? It's right now.
I don't think he has any interest. If he wanted to cash out on it, it'd be right now. I think he's going to. Yeah, I think he's going to be done and drift off, and we may never hear of him again or something.
Well, that would be sad.
It would be, but less people do that in wrestling.
Yeah, I guess so. But if DeSanto did it, that would be doubly sad.
Could you imagine just DeSanto working an office job and then, someone gets him mad and he just pushes it in and boom, outside carries him?
No, I just see it more like if there's an issue with the copier, he just does what we all fantasize about doing, just like destroying this menacing copier that refuses to work. Okay.
That would be tremendous.
So do we have some AJ Ferrari beef with the Stanford? So Stanford and Oklahoma State are wrestling
this weekend, Saturday.
And
you can watch it with us on our watch party.
Watch party. Me and JD are partying this weekend.
That's right.
Which is dangerous. Don't party with JD Rader. This guy's an experienced partier.
He might spike your drink.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm aware of all the pitfalls of partying with JD. But
Mark Bear's tried tricking me a few times. Never fell for it.
Really?
He's dangerous. Mark Bader. I could tell you guys some stories about Mark Bader. Don't even get me started. He's probably about to run in that studio right now and say, "Cut all of this." I don't know.
He's not worried. He knows you would never. But yeah, Stanford and Oklahoma State wrestling is probably the marquee duel of the weekend, I would say. Right, two really tough teams, and Nick Stimmett, the 197 for Stanford, did the AJ Ferrari flex and tagged AJ on Instagram, which started in the comment section and then spilled over into the DMs.
So is this a main page post or a story post?
This was a main page post.
Break it down for us, JD.
Yeah, and what is the comment that he tags him in? Does he make a comment also or just tags him? Let's go, JD.
Okay, yes. So he puts up the photo of him flexing, and he says, Albert, ? Hello, ? And then tags him. AJ Ferrari comments, looking good, son. Not bad, to be honest. Not on daddy's level yet, though. with some emojis and some hashtags.
Laughing emoji, race car emoji, smoke emoji.
Of
Hashtag
course.
Mr. Fast Twist.
Yes, of course.
Oh, gosh.
And then it spills over to the DMs, where Stemmet says,
Oh boy, you can't read all of it. You can read some of it.
yeah, just Albert, are you done with surgery? Are you better now? And then he replies, you're a clown. Your mouth is writing checks you can't cash.
Bud.
Yeah.
Calls him Bud.
There's also some emojis.
Two buds talking on Instagram. Very normal.
You know, some emojis in here and stuff. Too expensive. Used emojis in private. Too impressive. How long will it take me to tech pin you? You think you can last a minute? I honestly.
Wait, who said that?
Ferrari.
Ferrari.
Ferrari ain't taking nobody that fast.
Yeah, I know. But, well, there's a real long exchange, and basically they just go back and forth, talking trash, saying, AJ says, don't injury default like you did last year. I'm not exactly sure what that is in reference to. I don't remember Stemmet injury defaulting last year, and he says, yeah, he never injury defaulted.
That's a great segue.
Stemmet calls him out for stalling. He says, because AJ said he's going to end his, I just hope you can continue your life after I end your collegiate wrestling career.
I wish I could. I mean, these are all threats that are obviously not going to come true. So when you're making threats, you want something that has a possibility of coming true. If I was Stemmet, I know where I would go with the trash talking. It's very simple because Stemmet does not have better credentials, so he's really got only a couple things he can go to. And I'll give him a hint. It was in the Iowa State match. You can go watch the film.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what you should be using, Nick.
You called him out for stalling. How exactly do you intend to end my career? Stalling?
Well, I don't know. Listen.
I don't see any medical forfeits on Stemmet's record anywhere. I'm looking at his WrestleStat right now.
Yeah, I don't remember them ever wrestling or trying to wrestle Oklahoma State last year.
So he wrestled at the Pac-12s. He got tech fault first match by Norfleet, and then he won 3 matches in a row. So I'm assuming that's third place. And then he made NCAAs, and he lost to Campbell in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he's 4-0 on the year. Is Nick Stemmet? I don't know if I would have thrown the first
punch.
Yeah, no.
I kind of like it.
Well, listen,
not
hey,
really
we're talking
excited to
about
watch
him,
it.
aren't we? Yeah,
Yeah, but on the other side of it, what's going to happen?
that's okay. Happens
yeah.
sometimes.
It
You gotta
does.
shoot your shot.
He shot it, and we'll be watching. I can't wait to watch.
I know.
hey,
Yeah, I'm excited.
Let's talk about these medical forfeits that you're so fired up about, Christian.
Well, no, it's like
Before we move on, is AJ healthy? I mean, he did the whole Columbia stem cell things. He better show up now.
yeah. I take that he will. I mean, based on his weight training, I would assume he's pretty healthy.
That is true.
He was deadlifting 400 pounds and rowing it, and then Mark Coleman was getting in AJ's comment section saying that he was stronger than AJ, which is kind of interesting back and forth. Mark Coleman was a monster. So
Mark Coleman, MMA fighter, was in the comments.
yes,
Come on.
I swear it
It might have been helped by certain vitamins.
Yeah, maybe so. He was a big, strong individual. Now, so that's that. The AJ. But what else? There's some other good matches going on there. Before we get into medical forfeits, which we should, because Shane Sparks got a good conversation going there. I wanted to talk about it a little bit. He's fired up. Fired up, Shane Sparks. But talk about this Oklahoma State Stanford duel. We could see Jay Nabis versus Caden G. Feller. It sounds like G won the wrestle off, which is cool. We love G. So I'd like to see that.
I didn't see any results from the Oklahoma State wrestle offs. Where were they?
I have word of mouth, or maybe
What?
in our Slack. I didn't see anything official.
This is 2021. Give us some damn results, John Smith.
So
John Smith can do whatever he wants.
and we could have. I'm curious if we'll see Carter Young. I don't think we will. I would imagine it'll be Dusty Holm versus Real Woods, but if it was Carter Young, that would be freaking fantastic.
That'd be fun.
Preseason, I think in an interview, John alluded to redshirting the true freshmen for the first half and then going with them if he thinks they're ready second half.
Which makes sense.
But it is unfortunate.
Yes, for this match, because I'd like to see
Real Woods versus Carter Young?
That'd be sick. I'm excited to see where Real is. You know, last year I didn't think he looked his best, and they had the weird Stanford season. So how does he look? It's our first real look at Rob Cole's Stanford Cardinal, which we have not seen yet, and Shane Griffith versus Travis Whitlake is probably the marquee match of that dual meet.
It's a big one.
And it's a big opportunity for Whitlake, who is trying to enter into that next tier, that next strata at 165. He's really tough, and I'm sure they probably think they got a great shot in that match. So I'm excited for that one.
That'll be a fun one.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Ben.
Let's hear it. Medical forfeit.
Medical forfeit.
I want you to get fired up.
Well, here's the thing. What is a little backdrop? Looking at some of these tournaments, these opens this weekend, there was a weird trend that was like really common of guys getting 2 wins, looking fine, looking great, and then forfeiting out. So it's not
that was weird.
And it wasn't like, oh, it happened once. It was like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's probably 10 different occasions. And I went and watched the matches that led into it. And, they look fine. They don't look like there's an actual health issue. And so it's now, I'm reaching out to some coaches, like, what is the deal here? What is the benefit of this? Why are they doing it? Basically, you get 2 wins. The early round matches are often the easier matches if it's seeded somewhat. Then you get 2 D1 wins, and you forfeit out, and then you get all the benefit for you're just basically padding your win percentage stats as, if you're going to be someone that's a fringe qualifier.
Is that what it's for?
That is part of the reason. I mean, there's different reasons to do it. There's that reason, which I think is common. There's sometimes they're just like, hey, we don't want to get 4 or 5 matches. We just want to get 2 matches because of the rigor of the season.
Weird. That's annoying. So I honestly thought, Christian, I thought you were just going to talk about the backside stuff where it's like,
no, these are front side. I only looked at front side.
Okay, well, I thought you were talking about the backside where it's like, I lost, I can't win, I'm grumpy, I'm going home. Which, I didn't have much experience after my redshirt year. But my redshirt year, I was at every GD WrestleBack every freaking weekend, wrestling back all the way. So I do have experience there. But the front side thing is kind of perplexing, and I actually was just under the assumption that those were legit injuries. They win 2 matches, they tweak their knee or they tweak their ankle, and they say, hey, it's November, it's not worth hurting it worse. Let's go home. Because obviously, like in old time wrestling, and this is probably even old time, meaning even my era and probably before, everything was like, stop being a wimp, get out, tape it up, get out there. I mean, that was freaking everything. And obviously, in certain situations, hey, for the NCAA tournament, you got to do that. If you're at the conference, you got to do that. But if it's November, it is probably not a good idea to hurt yourself worse if, say, you tweak your ankle, your knee, or your shoulder, or whatever. It's just not worth it.
Yeah, but sure, if it's an injury.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like that's what's happening here. These guys are
correct,
looking fine and winning matches, and then they're out. For example, at 149 at Michigan State Open, Michigan State had the 2, I think, the most egregious examples. I say egregious, but just stuck out. Alec Hagan had a forfeit in the semis and the finals of the tournament.
Really?
Yes. So he won a quarterfinal match. He got a forfeit from Legend Lamer in the semi and a forfeit from Mitch Moore in the finals.
So what happened to Legend Lamer? Is he just wanted to get a few matches?
He wrestled 2 matches and forfeited. And then Mitch Moore went pin, tech. He had a 19-second pin, 18-2 tech, 21-second pin, 2-13 pin, and then left.
Why?
I don't know why.
Someone get Mitch Moore on the phone. I want these answers.
I think I'm not speaking for Mitch Moore. I think a lot of it is they don't want to take an L and have it harm their win percentage or their this or that. Chance Lamer, he beat Dresden Simon. No, he didn't. He won his first match. Then in the quarters, he got a forfeit from Dresden Simon, which would have been a great match.
That had to be an injury because why would you wrestle 1 match and then forfeit? That's weird.
He won 15-8. And then Etchemandia forfeited to him in the so Lamer had a forfeit in the quarters and semis.
No, so round of 16 and quarters.
No,
because you said he forfeited to the other guy in the semis.
You
said Lamer forfeited to Hagan.
That was a different Lamer.
Yeah.
Oh, what? So one lamer was the forfeiter, and the other was the forfeitee. I don't even know if that makes sense. But lamer wrestled, but he got forfeited to against Simon and Echemendia. It is a little confusing that the lamers are central here and that different sides of the coin. But Chance got forfeits in the quarters and the semis to make the finals, which he won.
Okay.
By the way.
Dang.
So that just doesn't, I don't understand. I just don't understand it.
So what are you?
Well,
I
actually do understand it. I do understand it. I don't like it. That,
I don't like it either.
It's, it's one thing to say, all right, we want to stay healthy, and of course that I think that's an easy thing for everyone to hide behind, this safety and the health thing. It's like it's sort of it just puts up a wall that is sort of like unquestionable, but I think we can all use our brains and know that it's not just about health. It's because you're choosing to pull yourself out as you're facing more rigor. Right? As you're facing a tougher opponent where there's more probability of losing.
Yeah. On a percentage basis, it's impossible that they're all hurt. So you're 100% right on that. You don't know which ones are hurt, but there's no way they're all hurt. That's I don't want to say it's statistical impossibility, but pretty damn close. The thing is that now I would like to. So I literally thought we were going to talk about the backside forfeits. I didn't realize me front side. I would love to have some coaches' opinions right now. Like, I know none of these coaches will come on and talk publicly about what their thought process are because they need coach speak and they're scared to really speak their minds. Yeah. I would really love to hear what the coaches are thinking and why they're doing this. And that way I could push back on that because I don't know what their strategy is. If it's really just to go get a couple wins, that's kind of weird to me. Like, I don't get it. I mean, obviously the win percentage is one component of what gets you to NCAAs, but there's other components also, right? There's the coaches rank, and what's the third one? The other rank. Right? There's two rankings.
Like RPI? I don't know.
RPI. So RPI matters too, and that would be matches against tough people. So obviously, winning percentages is one of the factors, but the other two have to do with ranking. So if you were to get a good win, it's going to help you. And even really with the way the RPI is set up, if you were to take a good loss, that's probably going to help you also. So I would really love to hear, like, exactly in very specific detail, here's what we're thinking, here's why, here's the situations, because I'm not sure every single situation is the exact same, but like, what exactly are they doing? Because the front side thing is weird.
Yeah, they're definitely, and I think they're. So Shane Sparks put out a tweet that said that medical forfeits should be counted straight up as losses, and that they should go on your record as a loss. And I'm not there.
Hey, Shane Sparks is in the chat. Someone give him a code to log in.
Ooh, we could, Shane, hit up Tyler on Slack if you want to call in and yell about this.
He wants to yell. Shane wants to yell.
Shane, open invitation. If you can Slack Tyler, and Tyler grants you permission, I'd be happy to have you on.
But if this man starts, one time he ranted for 30 minutes about Robles choosing bottom on McDonough, and he's wrong. I'm not Shane, you're wrong on this one. And he wouldn't shut up about it, and I wanted to fight him.
Was I here for that?
No, it was at a burger place. It was in Wisconsin. Came to hang out, and he wouldn't shut up. He's like, "But why did Robles choose bottom?" I'm like, "Because it was the right choice." He said, "No," and he had this big argument, and then I'm like, "Dude, you're wrong." And then we almost had to fight.
Wow, I wonder how that would have gone.
So listen, here's his argument. His argument is that he had rode him out for 2 periods, or he'd been on top for a long time, and that McDonough was so dangerous. And I said, simply put, if he chooses top, Anthony would tend to get because he used forearms, right? So he would tend to get tired as the matches went on, and he'd become less effective as the match went on. So if he chooses bottom, I think it's 8-2, and McDonough gets an escape and a takedown, and all of a sudden it's 8-5. It's competitive, but Anthony's not going to get turned. So if you go bottom, McDonough spent time trying to do that. He's not going to get it, and then he's got to cut you. So instead of 8-3, it's going to be 9-2, which is a 2-point swing.
Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that you coached him there is good evidence. But staying on that topic, and if Shane comes on, that's cool. But medical forfeits counting as loss, I do not think that's right, because medical forfeits exist for, I think, a good reason, Now, are they being used? Are these actual medical forfeits? Because medical forfeit means there's an actual injury. But
you know what the parallel to draw here then, Christian, is?
What?
This very simple parallel, and the rule worked well, is that when you have an injury time in a match, then the other person gets choice. Mm-hmm. That cut down on fake injury times by, we'll say 97%. I mean, a really large number. Now, does it suck still when there's a real injury time? Like the one that sucks the most for me is when someone pokes someone in the eye and someone needs a few seconds. It's like, wait, that dude poked that dude in the eye, and the eye poker gets the advantage, right? Because the guy who got eye poked.
Well, now that should be hands to the face.
Yeah. So there's a couple times when it's not ideal, which is the same thing if you made a medical forfeit a loss, it would be not ideal sometimes. But I think it would help things on the positive side by a lot.
Yeah, it might, but it would have some benefit for sure. I'm not discounting that, but I think on the whole, it's not accomplishing what you're trying to do, which is,
what are you trying to do?
Well, one, when I think about the value that a match can have for seeding, ranking purposes, something where no one takes a match has no ranking or seeding purpose because you have no idea who is an actual better wrestler,
sure,
right? And you shouldn't get the benefit of that because a guy got injured around previously or a concussion or something like that.
But again, so this is where I would be curious if we had stats, would be arguing better. But what percentage of those are actual injuries where they can't wrestle, and what percentage are guys just not wanting to be out there? Because at this point, I think the argument you're making is that it's actually a fairly high percentage who are just choosing not to wrestle versus can't.
I think on the top side, that is a newer phenomena, in my opinion, to see that.
Absolutely. You're right.
The backside has been, we've seen that forever, the drop down blues, and they say
it wasn't as bad, but it's definitely worse now.
Yeah, people trying to get out. So I would say it is maybe a new thing that's happening more. I think in general they are they're done out of caution. Maybe not though. Maybe it's maybe it's 50-50. And if it is 50-50, I think even then it's not worth giving because Spencer Lee forfeits out of Midlands. You don't get credit for a Spencer Lee win. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, so maybe you exclude them in the rankings portion, but if they go on the record, right, guys aren't going to want to take extra L's. And so, the big negative part of this type of thing, Christian, is that when someone spends their money and their time to attend a tournament and they want to get matches and they want to get better wrestling, and then you have all these dudes forfeiting, my just broad perspective, the point of the tournament is to get people matches to, number one, figure out who's the best. We're going to figure that out. Mm-hmm. And then number two, for the individuals, their job would be to get better. They go to a tournament to compete to get better at wrestling. And so if we're taking both of those things out, then that sucks for the guys who are doing their best to just show up and compete as hard as they want.
From the comments section to live on air, Shane Sparks. What's up? He's about to mat return this entire show. I don't think medical forfeits should count as a loss. I think that
wait.
What?
I got to. This is Shane. My head just exploded. Because do you remember the reason we met?
The first thing I remember, yeah, I do, Ben. I remember it exactly. So this is going back to, I'm going to say 04, maybe 2004.
05, somewhere in there, yeah.
I did a sports talk show in Appleton, and part of our we did not have a producer, so I was taking every call hot. So my little system was you would call up and you would say, this is so-and-so, and I'm on AM 1570 The Score. So I get a random phone call once, and this guy calls up and he goes, he didn't give me his name, and he goes, I'll bet you can't tell me who this is. And I go, I'll bet you I can. And I don't remember what Ben's credentials were at the time, but I think I said something like, this is national champion and Dan Hodge Trophy winner Ben Askren from Missouri. And I think, that was a great day. That was a good time.
Too funny.
And then we went out to Scott Cleaver's house with Nicole Conrad was there. You, Nick Huckey, Max. We had a Scott
Great
Cleaver
time.
meat fest, and those were good times. But then I'm surprised that you even would remotely want me in any debate with you after that time at the there was a David Taylor camp, if I remember right, at AWA. And to this day, and we can talk about this another time, but but Robles should have picked top.
Hey, you still haven't accepted that you're wrong.
He should have. Here's what happened, Ben. Ben, and you're a smart guy, and you're very analytical. You're analytical. Give me 1 minute to just go off on this because I just thought it one time.
Prediction. This will be much longer than a minute.
Well, this is what happened. And you're analytical, Ben. That's one thing that makes you different is you just look at things differently. But the one thing I like about you, Ben, is you're analytical, but you also have the manalytics, as Colin Cowherd would say. Sometimes you can't just go off the book. But in that match, Robles takes him down, and he rides him and turns him. I mean, he's dominating that match. Okay, the only thing at that stage of the match that was going to beat him was getting pinned. That was it. And McDonough could pin guys. That was the only thing that was going to stop Robles. Ultimately, it didn't matter. But McDonough, I believe, did ride him out that entire third period. Didn't turn him. But the right call there is if you're in a national championship match. This is not November when maybe you want to go on bottom to get a feel, go in different positions to get a feel that, for matches down the road. But in that situation, it was the last match of his career. He had taken him down. He had turned him. He had rode him some more. He might have turned him twice. And you pick bottom? Why? If nothing else, go on top and take a minute off the clock. It worked out for Robles. I mean, that's the bottom line. But analytically, if you broke it down analytically also, it would tell you that your chances of winning that match would have been better by going on top. You owned, and I would say this, Ben.
I wasn't lying.
I told you.
He dominated that match in one position and basically, quote unquote, earned the right to continue to control that match in that top position.
Are you watching the screen? Are you watching the screen?
Man. Hey, got it in a minute.
Hey, can we no, listen, I think you guys have the capability here at Flow. On the Flow chat, can we put a poll? Should Robles have chose bottom? Can we put a poll on there?
I don't know.
Well, here's what we know. He won the match. So he didn't. Sometimes we know this, guys, too. Sometimes it's like playing blackjack. If you play blackjack and you're at the table, and I'm not a blackjack expert, but if the dealer has like a 10 or a face card, you got to assume that he's got another face card for a 20. If you got a 5 or a 6 and you hit, now you're at a 15 or a 16, you hit again. You might lose, but it's the right play. Sometimes the right play doesn't get you to win, but it's still the right play.
Talk. I haven't played blackjack in 15 years.
Yeah, I've been about 15 years too. But the reason I know that is because when I went to Oneida Casino about 15 years ago in Green Bay, I was the guy.
That's right by AWA Green Bay. You go again, you need to stop by and get some wrestling.
But I would get. Okay. I'd have like a 5 or a 6. And the dealer would have that face card showing, and there was a timer. I learned quickly I didn't hit, and I might even win the hand, and the whole table's pissed off at me. Like, that's not the right play. Learn how to play the game the right way. You might not win all the time, but you play the right way. Robles, and I love Robles, and he won the match. So it's the bottom line is he won. If he gets beat there, turned or pinned, now we got a whole nother conversation. But it was still he still should have went top. Still should have went top. Because then I think he would have. Yeah, it is what it is. But that's that. So on the medical forfeits, guys, and I appreciate you guys bringing this up. Here's what I would tell you. Full transparency here. I don't have all the answers. I just wanted to kind of get a conversation started. Should every medical forfeit count as a loss? That's probably too harsh. I probably went a little bit too harsh on that.
All right.
But the point being is this, guys. And Ben, you can answer this. I can't answer this because I didn't wrestle. But my assumption would be that if you are a Division I wrestler and you put that much time in, training, discipline, like, why do you do it? Don't you do it to compete? Like, don't you? I mean, right? Why? If you're a wrestler, wrestle. I just don't understand why you put all that time. I mean, isn't that the fun part? Isn't that why you do it? Don't you want the challenges against the best guys? And
I
also,
mean, I talked to Coach Smith into let me go to the CMSU Open. And I said to give him Priest and go because he didn't want to let me go.
I think about guys, and I'm probably missing guys, but guys that come to mind. You, Ben, you always shut up. Hell, you'd bump up weights to wrestle better guys on pay. Like, I love that about you. Bo Nickel didn't miss much, if any. Mark Hall didn't miss. David Taylor didn't miss. It's like, gosh, you work that hard. The reward is to put yourself in these tough matches. And and we know this too. And I know it might hurt your seed, this and that. You know what else we know? You can take the seeds of the national tournament half the time, and they all go out the window because there's a quote-unquote upset here and upset there. And it's like, I would have rather gotten that experience in November and December, even if it meant taking a loss. That's okay. Like, that's okay. My biggest regret from high school, guys, I hate to drop the high school stuff here. I'm going back 30 years ago. I wrestled at 103 as a senior in high school, and here's what happened.
Oh, boy.
I got to wrestle a bunch of kids that weren't any good, and I padded my record, and it was all fine and dandy until I had to wrestle somebody that was good. And you know what? I wasn't ready for it because I hate to admit this, it kills me to say this and admit it, but I took the easier path. And you know what? The easier path will always catch up with you. If you want to be great, like if you really, 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 truly want to get better at wrestling, why wouldn't you compete? So I'm not saying that they should all take losses, but there's got to be a consequence. There's got to be a consequence for not towing the line. That's my rant. I don't know what it is, but there's got to be something.
I'm with that. I am too, because I think it's just overall, I think the pendulum has swung so far one way on a couple things. There's this idea that, which I think it is rooted in something real, of if you compete a lot and you're doing 30, 40 matches a year, it's like the rigor of that adds up, and by the end of the year, you're not the same guy. And that's what you're trying to avoid missing. Like, you want to be optimized when it matters most. So I get that. And the idea that a match is an opportunity to get injured and you're more exposed there is a real thing. But I think it swung too much that way. It's like, I think that should be a consideration in how you build your schedule, right? So build your schedule to compete it to the maximum amount you can with all that in mind. But don't make your schedule, and then within your schedule, you're eliminating parts of it. It's like, well, just make the schedule that makes the most sense and send your guys and have them do their best. And then that's what you should be thinking about, instead of, we're going to make this schedule, but we're going to send only some of our guys, and only some of our guys are actually going to do the whole tournament, because if they do the whole tournament, they might A, lose, or B, get injured, which is, that's something that can happen in all tournaments. So I don't know. I honestly, Shane, I can't currently think of a method to really punish the behavior, but punish it, because I think we all have to realize that medical forfeits are important, and you can't, you shouldn't get credit for a win that you didn't really get.
I mean, if we just did statistical analysis on the amount, I mean, just that first weekend this year versus first weekends in years past, it's way up. It's way up. And obviously, I put it out, I think probably 20 years ago, people were almost too tough for their own good, to where it was negative to the long-term consequences. But there should be this should be addressed. As the injury time was addressed, I brought up that was a situation that's been addressed. It's not perfect. I don't know that there is a way to make it perfect, but it has. I believe it's greatly improved the product. And it's also greatly improved the fairness of the matches, because within the rule set, it's supposed to be a 7-minute consecutive match. And if you allow one person to take 3 minutes off, that's changing that dynamic of what that match should be. So that is a rule that's been put in place, which has significantly improved both the competitive nature and the spectator nature of the match. I don't see why we couldn't do something similar, and maybe we don't have the answer this morning, but I think we can find an answer.
Yeah, I mean the injury time thing has been perfect, and I've loved how it's been applied. But yeah, I don't think that thing is super evident right now in the wrestling space, but hopefully so, because it is just an annoying sort of thing. Shane, what else is going on, man?
Just excited. I mean, just wrestling season. Great time of year. We want to see these good matches. There was somebody that had a tweet to it. Might have been that virtual NCAA guy who's I think his stuff is pretty funny. But he had one out there too about, and I think he's probably poking the line, whoever that might be. That wrestling's not. It might have stemmed off this whole medical forfeit thing. That don't get it twisted. Wrestlers are not here for our entertainment. And I'm like, that is completely wrong. I don't remember Ben Askren ever taking the mat one time without maybe the sole purpose of entertaining. And the wrestling came with it.
Yeah. I mean, that's
you guys should have been here back in the early 2000s when Ben was wrestling at Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like when the message boards first started out. Those were great times.
Man, that's something I wish we had more footage of, because that would be.
Guys, let me ask you this: as long as I got you on here, I think. The Robles top-bottom thing is debatable. I think the medical forfeit thing we all agree on. We just don't have the answers. But here's another one of my things that, again, I don't know how you do this, but you know what else drives me nuts? And Ben, you alluded to it before. It's supposed to be a 6-7 minute match consecutively. You know what else I think there's got to be a consequence for? And this might be over the top, because I love the injury timeout. You take an injury timeout, there's a consequence. I like consequences when you don't do things right, some of them more controllable than others. But what about this one? You know what else they need to figure out? Blood time. Here's my thought process.
Let them bleed, baby.
You get one chance to fix it. If you got to wrap his head up, you get my thought process. If you got one chance, that would get fixed too. You get one of them. The next one, other guy gets a choice. Maybe a little bit over the top.
What about like nose plugs?
Some of those matches, especially in high school, they take 20 minutes because it takes them 10 times to get it figured out. It's like, and you can tell if you're at these matches, when the kids come out of the corner, it's like, we're going to be back here in 20 seconds. What do you? How crazy do you think that is?
That's pretty crazy. I think it's not the kids' fault. Their nose, like, some kids just have noses that just bleed, and the plugs are not effective. Unless you're saying, first time out, tape the entire face up, mummify this child. I mean, okay, I guess we could.
I mean, I personally would be all right with that, but that's just me. Like, get it fixed.
My thing is this. I don't think anyone, maybe it would be a very rare instance, maybe 1 out of 1,000 times where blood time is gamed. Right, you can game the injury time so easily. Whirly bird, that's the oldest trick in the book.
When they stick their finger up their nose, they put their finger in their mouth, and then they like, look at my blood. Look at my blood.
Everyone's lip is bleeding in a wrestling match. So I hate it when they do this. Like, I've seen that move a couple times. Like, all right, we get it.
Swallow it.
Yeah,
stop being a pug. You know what I would? So obviously in fighting you can bleed, and they continue the contest. I know this is probably unrealistic at the high school. Likely the college level, but in flow, like you guys do pro matches, F it, let them bleed, no big deal. Blood's kind of cool. People kind of like blood a little bit, like when there's a bloody fight, it gets people a little bit excited. Who cares? Let them bleed. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Add a little. It's like adding a little character to it, right? I mean, that's yeah.
It would mortify every wrestling mom in high school, but at the professional level though. Why not? Yeah, okay. So let them bleed. You know what?
Yeah, I mean, obviously with UFC, or mixed martial arts, we do blood tests, and the blood tests, generally last, I think it's a year. They're good for a year, so you got to do that once a year or whatever, to make sure you don't have any issues getting into the cage, because you don't want to give someone, say, AIDS or nothing.
Hilarious.
Yes.
Nothing gets.
Just make some
loves
consequence.
AIDS. Why is he laughing so hard? No one loves AIDS jokes like Ben. Man, look at him. He's losing his mind.
Christian, you want to get a hint or what?
No. That's the main reason I'm not an MMA fighter, Ben.
Yeah.
It's the AIDS.
We can test it. It's all good. I am not HIV positive. I'm great.
Thank goodness.
FYI.
Glad to
wouldn't
hear
be
that. That was our next topic. I was gonna ask your HIV status, but it came up organically finally, so I didn't have to. So that's helpful for me. So yeah, we saw Blood Time. We're working on the medical forfeits. We're working on, we're trying to go back and get Robles's match tactics fixed. What's your schedule? You're Mr. Football now, Shane. Are we gonna lose you to the gridiron? What's going on here?
I've just been fortunate. I got to do 4 football games. I thought I was done, but Friday night I'm heading to Gainesville, Florida. I get to go to the Swamp. Going to do an SEC game. It's Florida. They're not playing another SEC team. I just found out about it, but football's great. Football's it's such from a broadcast standpoint, it's just a different preparation. I just love it. It's such an event. And then Big Ten schedule kicks off next week. Nebraska and North Carolina. Looking forward to that one. And I know with the ACC, you don't have as many teams as they do in basketball, obviously, but I love the Big Ten ACC showdown that they do in basketball. I think they still do it, but I'm looking forward to that. I mean, that'll be good. And then we got next Saturday, I think that's the 20th, Oklahoma State at Minnesota. So yeah. I mean, here we go. Yeah.
My question, are you guys going to be back broadcasting in the venues, or are you still doing the remote thing?
Yeah, it's the majority of them are in Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Which it's not perfect, but I would say, man, it's all right. I mean, between traveling, you got to travel a couple of days. You can save that time. You miss out on a few things. I saw last night there was a basketball game, Ohio State and Akron, I believe. Jason Benetti was doing it. He's phenomenal, voice of the White Sox. And they had some technical difficulties, and he goes, "I'd love to explain what's happening right now, but that's not possible." So some of that stuff happens, but I mean, it is what it is. Nobody's losing sleep over it.
That's never happened here.
Hey, so like I found Shane in the comments on Facebook. The Facebook comments are also asking you, Shane, to explain how you feel about Brent Metcalf at number 100 on the FloWrestling Top 100.
I thought Metcalf. I mean, this is between Bader, Mike Mayle, Andy Hamilton, Kyle Klingman, Christian. You and I have probably argued about it. JD. I mean, I love lists. Because the list, no matter what,
I love lists.
I love lists.
Christmas lists, it doesn't matter.
This is an awesome list. I love this. I think when it's all said and done, this has the potential to be Flo's best film, and they've had some phenomenal films. I really like this one. I mean, when you think about Brett Metcalf, man, I mean, God darn it. I thought he should be. What number did he come in at? 90 something.
100.
100.
Oh, he was okay. He was 100. Yeah, I think Metcalf is higher than 100.
Higher than Guerrero and Zane Rutherford?
Man,
because that's 99 and 98.
Yeah. That list isn't that list is it's incredible. I mean, it's. I mean, like I'll give you a guy that I think was one of the best that I've seen in when I go back to the last 25 years. And my assumption is he's not going to be on the list. Maybe he is on the list. Maybe he is. Maybe I'm speaking too soon. But growing up in Wisconsin, going to watch Badger matches, Donnie Pritzlaff to me is like he was, two-time NCAA champ, beat Heskett to win them both in awesome matches. I believe he won a couple Big Ten titles. I think he was a world silver. Like Don, I mean, it's like and he might not make the list, and maybe rightfully so. I mean, maybe when you look at everybody else, like you just gave the examples, like, okay, yeah, maybe not. But there are a lot of guys on this list. It makes you appreciate to make this list how good you got to be. Like, man. Yeah, well, Rutherford. I mean, Rutherford's one of the best I've ever. If you ask me, last 10 years, give me 5 guys that pop off the charts. Zane's going to be one. I mean, he was to maul guys. I mean, just destroy people.
Last 10 years, he's got to be one of the top 4 NCAA wrestlers. Like Dake, Stever.
If we're doing just NCAAs, Zane's top 20 all time, I think.
It would be. I think he's probably top 10. 3 undefeated Hodge Trophy seasons, basically. That would maybe be a fun project to do after this. Is like the top NCAA wrestlers of all time, right? Because that's what has become. That's what has become the conversation because there's so much, especially in America, focus on NCAA folk style. That's like our thing. And people forget about no, there's a world championships against the planet. There's a planet contest. So it's honestly, it's not these guys that are within 4 years of your age group in this one style that's only done in America. It's actually the thing everyone does, right? So that has precedent too. Not that we ignore folk style. That's why Zane's on the list because folk style does matter. But it's not the end all be all. And it's tough to balance those things.
But it's the best style. I mean, we all agree on
let's go, Shane Sparks.
We all agree on that one.
We all do.
Man, I don't know.
Don't get me started.
I mean, honestly, you guys would have made your lives a whole lot easier if you would have done a Greco list, a women's list, an international men's list, an NCAA list. I mean, that's you know what I'm saying?
The top
it would make your life so much easier.
Of all
I
time.
understand. I just said easier. I didn't say better. I said easier.
Yeah, it's about better, not easier. You want to take medical forfeits to pad your stats. We're running the gauntlet.
Medical forfeit in my life.
We're running the gauntlet, Ben.
We're still mad at Coach Smith. Listen, Coach Smith. Love you, Coach Smith.
Shout out.
2 matches. There was 2 matches he held me out of in my life because he wanted to give someone else a match. Fair enough. I likely would have got 2 pins because they weren't very good people. I would have been tied for 3rd on the pins list, not 4th. Coach Smith cost me a spot on the pins list, and I will never forgive you for that.
Well, sorry, Coach Smith. But yeah, gotta get some other guys some mat time. So, all right, where else do you want to talk about, Shane? Yanni, JD just put something in the doc here. Yanni continued to tease us, excuse me. So he put out Instagram posts, 141 or 149 or bigger eye emoji. The world may never know. So we don't know. What weight do you think he's going, Shane?
And again, this is something this is just me. and maybe it's the old man get off my lawn. Maybe it's maturity. Maybe it's, I would love it if he went 141 because I'm all about, Vision Quest. I mean, dude, that's what I loved about Dake going up with Dake Taylor. That was, all year, that was such a great story. It was so fun. Culmination at the national tournaments. You look at 141, you could have Yanni, Nick Lee, Ironman, Micic, Rivera. You win that. That's a mic drop right there. So if I'm Yanni, why not? I'd love to see him go 141 because I cannot imagine. You take those 5 guys, darn. You better bring the big boy pants to win that one.
Big boys. Get your britches.
Big boy pants.
Woo! I'm telling you, for the fan in me.
We have Shane Sparks on more often.
Of course.
Big boy pants.
Open invitation.
Big boy pants.
Open
If
invitation.
he brings that damn robe whistling up, I'm calling Tyler though. It's over.
Tyler, we're gonna cut him. We're gonna have a kill switch for Shane.
What do you guys think? What do you think about Yanni? Where do you want to see him go?
It's like. For me, for Cornell, I don't know how much better or worse the team is with him at 41 or 49, right? So if it's not a major team consideration,
I think it's just between him and Saunders, right?
Saunders is not a 49 in my opinion. Probably not. Maybe he is, and maybe he'll have to be, but I think he's probably a better suited 41. But the idea of going 41, but that's just the fan in me. I'm not saying that's the pragmatic right choice. He's outgrown it by and large. If he goes 41, I think it's a two-way in type of thing. Conferences, NCAAs, that's it. Which
I don't believe so.
You don't believe so? I was told that in Oslo.
No, I don't think so. So
the
it
situation
sounds
is fluid.
I think they're doing an open turn. I just checked their schedule. It's not on their schedule. The schedule's kind of weird. They only have 10 matches on there. They have 1, 2, 3. They only have 4 duels on their schedule. What's wrong with their schedule right now?
I don't know. Maybe that's their schedule.
Anyways, I believe they're doing an open tournament either this weekend or the following, and then that's going to kind of give some indication on
He ain't
what
good
the
to do
team's
that.
going to look like.
Oh, okay.
What?
Well, he's not going to do an open, is he?
Correct, about how well the other people do.
Okay, so we'll be monitoring that situation.
Yes.
Okay.
God, how
Very
great is it to
interesting.
have the Ivies back, though?
Oh my gosh, it was brutal.
That's a game changer.
Yeah, that would stink. I'm so glad they're back. Princeton, the Ivy's coming. And we haven't talked about this result yet. Joe Manchio of Columbia beat Sam Latona this week in
That was shocking, huh?
Yep.
crazy match, and it wasn't like some. There's fluke wins happen where it's like, oh, crazy pin off an exchange, and then it's over. It's like this was a back and forth battle. There was some.
Yeah, but who's he training with? Zach Tonelli.
Here we go.
Zach Tonelli.
It all
If I'm
comes
going
back to
in-
the Badgers, baby.
Listen to
Wisconsin, the greatest state in the union.
this. It's not, but Zach Tonelli. You talk about, again, going back to a list, a top 10 mean list. Zach Tonelli's on the list. If I'm going into a back alley and somebody says you got 5 guys, I will say this. There's something about this, and it's New Jersey. Give me Pritzloff. Give me Tonelli. Give me Anthony Ashnold. I mean, let me just go to. I mean, those guys.
Steve Mako.
Our Jersey.
Listen, Mako is
Yeah,
the
no,
first
I'll
one
take
off the
Mako.
board.
We're squishing your whole squad.
Listen, I get Mako. Later, Tonelli. He's foot sweeping all these
there's
He
guys.
literally kicked him in the ass.
Zach Tonelli was tough.
This man was just kicking people in matches.
Talk about one of the best scrambles I've ever seen. Ben, you guys might remember this, maybe not, but one of the best
that?
scrambles that I ever remember. I think Tonelli was ranked #1 in the country, and I think he was a senior wrestling. Kellen Russell, I think, was a freshman. Another great scramble. Russell beat him. I think that was in the Big Tens. And but Tonelli was just mean. But no, I mean that's why. I mean obviously that same size, close to it with Tonelli. I'm sure that doesn't hurt.
Yeah. So that was a huge win for him. And now, did Latona look the best I've seen him look? I really wonder. Latona at 125, first weigh-in. It's going to be tough for him this year. I mean, he is enormous at 125.
Really? So you think he's that big? I never viewed him as a big 25. I viewed him as like
Latona.
Well, because
He's
I viewed him
huge.
as the right size 25. I mean, remember how small he started out his like competitive career when I remember. I think he was like an 88 pounder or something like the smallest dude.
Yeah. He's
Right?
no longer that. At 25 is a real deal
He's
cut
tall.
for him. He's tall. It's not easy. I think first time down, I didn't think his feet looked quite as sharp. But Manchio's still the story here. I mean, I'm not trying to discredit, but I'm not just going to pretend that Latona looked the most amazing I've ever seen him look either. So a great win for Manchio, and definitely puts him on the radar. And Columbia's they've got some juice coming. They've got some solid recruits. Good result here. I'm excited to see another Ivy League team start to climb the ranks. We know that Penn is just on their way as well with everything they've got going. The Ivy
Princeton
League
solid this year. Princeton solid.
Princeton they're just
Oh, yeah.
they got to go without. They're kind of like in the Cornell. You just know they're going to have a tough team, right? Now they're not Cornell level yet, but they are on their way certainly.
Yeah, I mean, what sucks about Cornell is you remember we were talking about them in 2021 possibly loading up to make a run at a title, and now obviously they lost Dean and all the part they lost Rob Cole and all the parts aren't there anymore. But that sucked for Cornell big time.
Yeah, that hurts.
Yeah, they were in really good shape. Really good shape.
Rumor mill, pure rumor mill.
Let's go rumors. I love it.
Max Dean won a wrestle off against Michael Beard yesterday. Total rumor mill. We'll see who starts this weekend, but I think it'll be Max Dean.
My rumor mill said that it's very competitive because you guys yesterday, I don't remember, maybe it was Bray was saying that it wasn't all that competitive, and I've heard it's very back and forth. That's what I got.
There's no way it's not competitive. And
That's what Bray said, right? Didn't he say that?
No.
Are you sure? Rewind the tape. Tyler, pull it up from yesterday. I believe he said one guy. He said that Beard was kicking his butt.
Oh my gosh.
No, you were
You guys
here.
are probably-
You were here. You were with me.
Yeah, I know. I don't think that's the case at all.
Okay.
Here's one, guys. You guys have probably talked about this plenty, but where's Soriano ending up? I mean, that to me that just fascinates me. Like I'm dying to find out where that lands.
Yeah.
I'm leaning to. I'm gonna guess Michigan's gonna be my final guess.
I think
Okay, you're gonna go Michigan.
Michigan
my
makes
final
sense.
And then he competes for Team Italy.
Oh no, bite your tongue.
Yes,
So
there we go, baby.
I think Iowa State's in the mix. Ohio State's in the mix. Michigan. I think Penn State maybe still in the mix. Penn State may be in the Hildebrandt sweepstakes as well,
Yeah.
which would be big for them. They need a 25. You know.
I have no idea. No idea. But if somebody had a gun to my head, I'll take Ohio State.
Yeah. Well, they've got a lot of recruiting momentum right now. That's for sure.
Yeah, they do.
But
Yeah, they do.
Landon Nick Sirianni is a different challenge altogether.
It is, but if anybody can
It
do
doesn't
it,
make
it's Tom
sense
Ryan.
though. But it doesn't make sense because they're not good. I mean, Nick's only got 1 year or one semester, and Ohio State's just not going to challenge this year. I mean, they do not have the firepower. If he had like 2 or 3 years with these classes coming in, I would say, yeah, I see it. But 1 year, I don't see it.
You know what would be bananas? If he committed there, Nick Sirianni still has a red shirt available. He could if he
Stop.
goes. He does.
Stop. You're lying.
What do you mean lying? He has a red shirt available. He never redshirted.
Okay.
So you could come in red shirt. Malik finishes up, and then next year, you know, if you want to wrestle all those hammers, you could do it.
Yeah.
Now,
that
whether
would be
that happens.
wild.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know where Nick's gonna go. Hopefully we find out soon. I would imagine next couple weeks we'll know, but we will see. Okay.
Kristen,
right.
you got that look. Kristen, you're not making eye contact, which tells me like you're just not saying anything.
Ooh, he's on to you. Oh, you're busted.
Oh man, Mr. Body Language Shane. Listen,
That's it. I just noticed when Christian's talking, he's kind of like looking away. All right.
I got to get a better poker face, I guess. All right, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. Okay, where do we want to go next? We talked about that. Matt Ramos looked pretty good in his first 2 matches. Owen Treffin beat Deontay Wilson again, so it looks like he'll be the starter for NC State in the Wolfpack, at least in the early goings. Any other results from the weekend that stuck out to you guys?
I'm not sure what y'all talked about yesterday. Carson Karchla looked really good. It was fun to see him in the Ohio State scene.
Oh, I know one we didn't talk about. Sammy Sasso had we'll say, relatively close match. It was Zach Sherman.
Mm-hmm.
There was a couple penalty points in there. I believe, what was it, locked hands and what was the other point?
I don't know.
It was 2 penalty points. I believe it was both of Sherman's points.
And he won it on riding time, I believe, right?
So it was 3-2, but both of Sherman's points were penalty points, and then he had the ride time point to make it 4-2. But
Okay.
you know that's a pretty close match there.
Yeah, that is, and Sammy can have those from time to
He
time.
can.
But Sherman is a dangerous wrestler, man. He's one of those guys he has a ton of skills. He's a dangerous guy. And I don't know if he's, first match, it's kind of grain of salt across the board and those kind of things, but Sherman's for real, and he's going to beat some good guys this year.
That'll be a good match next Wednesday at Nebraska with him and Lovett.
Yeah, that'll be good.
That will be good. I don't know who I would favor there. How about Lovett just goes up 2 weights and like balls out at Big Tens? He didn't have a good NCAAs, but he's going to be tough at 149. I like him a lot.
The other match we didn't talk about, UNC Ohio State, was Keyshawn Clark and Jordan Decatur went to overtime where Decatur lost, which we think that. Well, man, I was gonna say Keyshawn Clark's gonna be a factor for All-American, but with how tough 141 is, he's probably on the outside looking in.
Yeah, man. I mean, if especially if Yanni goes down, there's basically only 3 spots available to like what we'll call the field, right? Because it's like it's almost unthinkable that Stevan, Sebastian, Nick Lee, Jay Nyerman, or Yanni wouldn't place. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, if that weight happens, maybe this is a question: where does it stack all time?
All time.
That's what I was thinking. Getting back to the lists, that was one. That's a list for you right there.
It's up there. I mean, it's not 2008 149, but when you think about 2009 157, that was a really good weight that I think
that was stacked.
But I mean, one of the things that I would argue with you on the 2008 149 is like,
don't argue.
These are
indisputable.
These are okay. Listen, don't quote. You can tell me if I'm wrong. At 2008 149, I don't think any of them dudes had made a world team yet. Sebastian Rivera obviously was on Puerto Rico, but he's wrestling at our world championships. Okay. Stevan Micic was the number 1 seed at the Olympics already, not in the future, but has already been. Yanni has already been on a senior level world team. So we have Nick Lee, obviously. Nick Lee and Jaden both have had success at the senior level. So we've had guys who've already had that, senior level success, where I don't think we were there. The 149 2008 bracket, maybe Metcalf, but Burroughs had not at that point.
Well, it's just that's what the thing with the era comparison. College guys weren't really doing that kind of thing then.
Correct.
I mean, there weren't Yannis and Nick Lees trying to make the Olympic teams after their sophomore, junior season. It was just like super rare.
There were some of us. It wasn't to the extent. Like, I mean, I can tell you because I was in that era. I wrestled, I think, every year except 1 year I had an injury.
Medical forfeited out.
No, I didn't wrestle. No, I finished. I think I finished that tournament. Then
that's a medical forfeit.
Stop. Anyways, Christian, there were other people, but not to the level. Right now, there's I would say the high majority of the best guys are competing in those tournaments, and in that era, I would say it was just a handful of guys who really liked wrestling, who wanted to be there and try to make teams. But there were not guys having the success. The success was there, right? There weren't a lot of college guys making teams. It was almost none.
Yeah. I mean, that's a crazy one. The idea that Kyle Snyder and Jaden Cox weren't in the same NCAA weight is pretty insane because, they both would win world and Olympic titles soon after.
And neither of them won the bracket.
Yeah. It's true. Man. Insane. So, man, I think it gets up there in terms of historical significance. We're really, because of the international factor, because of, I think, we'll see who wins the weight and if Yanni even goes there. But, it's a lot of NCAA and freestyle credentials. But it's just for 5 just tough dudes, it's really up there. Very tough weight.
Yeah, that weight class is stacked, and not as stacked as 141, but heavyweight too now with Cassiope. I mean,
my God,
baby.
Tony Cassiope, I'm impressed with that. I mean, I'm not going to go out and say he's at Stevenson's level. I mean, I think.
Okay, good, because we would cut your mic right away.
Yeah,
well,
that's
here's
awesome.
Here's where this whole thing started, Ben. Ben, here's where this whole thing started with Stevenson.
Okay.
I am proud to admit I am the president of the Gable Stevenson fan club. I jumped on. I don't go too crazy on Twitter with too many predictions. I went all in on him before the Olympics, and I can tell you, my son can attest. We were in a hotel room in St. Louis, Missouri, and I'm watching his Olympic match, and I'm like, I'm like, oh, God.
I thought, Shane, man, you're disappointing me right now. You said before the Olympics. I thought you were telling me, like, Cheesehead 2014 or something. I thought you were saying Cheesehead 2014.
I'm the president. You're the sergeant at arms, Shane. I'm the Gable flag carrier.
Shane. I'm
in
sure
January.
Scott loved him in 2014 or something.
We're doing lists. We're doing lists for the Big Ten in January. Take a weight class in the top 10 guys in the last 10 years. That was the deal. Okay. And Tim Johnson, who I love, and Jim Gibbons were doing these things together. And I had on my list, this is in January, number 1 on my list was Gable Stevenson. And they're like, he's got 1 Big Ten title, and he didn't have a national title. And I'm like, he's number 1. And I'll give you a Jim Gibbons story quick. Jim's like big brother to me. So this is good. So a lot of times I'll have wrestling takes. Jim and I will do a broadcast, go out, and Jim likes his Crown on the Rocks. So we'll go to a restaurant. We're sitting there.
Wow,
and I'll try to come up with something that kind of like tries to impress him about my wrestling knowledge. And a lot of times he just kind of like, you can tell he's like, nah. So we're sitting there and I go, Jim, I'm going to say something right now. And I go, Gable Stevenson is the best college heavyweight ever. Jim Gibbons pauses.
Wait, so are you trying to impress him or are you trying to piss him off?
No, I was just trying to get his here's the deal. If I make a comment and Jim validates it, I just feel better about myself. Maybe I do what I'm talking about a little bit. Okay? So I tell him, I'm like, Gable Stevenson, best college heavyweight ever. Jim pauses, takes a sip of his Crown Royal, pauses again and looks at me and he goes, I agree. It was like, it was glorious. It was glorious. So that with this 100 greatest wrestlers list, when this thing first came out, when they started it, guys, right? Gable Stevenson was at 100, and that's what threw me off the rails. I'm like, Gable Steveson is a top 10 to 15 talent all time, period. And I know
I don't know if he's going to be that high. I don't think he's going to be that high.
Talent, Ben,
talent doesn't exist in my world, Shane.
That's right.
Here we go.
Forgot about that.
Don't get us started. Christian Piles hates this argument. But, okay, listen, I don't know. I haven't seen the list. Christian, tell me there's no way he's in the top 10 or 15.
I will not say that. I will say that if it is credential heavy, okay?
Yeah.
So then you got to do credentials. You can't do anything else. That's it.
I get it.
I'm going 26 for Gable. That's my guess.
Okay. Well, I will.
But let me ask you this, guys.
Write that down.
I won't even confirm he's on the list.
Yeah. you can't. I know this is a different argument, but this is kind of where my mindset was. If there was a draft and you had every wrestler ever and you had to pick a weight class and have a guy, he's getting picked in the top couple picks.
No doubt.
Right?
No doubt.
I mean, he's coming off the board immediately or very quick. He's not, he's going to be somebody's number one guy.
I thought Gable was going to be coming out of high school. I thought he was going to be a 4-time undefeated champ as a true freshman on. I thought he'd be making teams, and I thought he was going to win World and Olympics. And I think he could go as long as he wanted to. And he's just like not even – who even knows how much better he could get, right? Look at the jump.
Yep.
Look at the jump, how great he was in like 2019, and then how great he got after that. Like it's insane. It's insane how good he is. I mean, I've never seen a heavyweight as good as him in America.
I've never seen anything close. And there's been some great ones. I mean, Kerry McCoy – and Stephen Neal come to mind, and those guys were uber special. But I think Gable Steveson I've never seen people do things, and I spend the majority of my time poking fun at heavyweights, right? It's like, oh, here we go. But I've never seen anybody do things on a wrestling mat like Gable Steveson. I mean,
you count Kyle Snyder as a heavyweight.
I do count him as a heavyweight.
Well, that was the argument. So what they were telling me at the time is like, how can you not have Kyle Snyder as number one on your list? And I love Kyle, but I'm like, number one on my list. I don't care if he's got one Big Ten title and hasn't won a national tournament yet. Number one heavyweight I've ever seen, period, is Gable Steveson. Hands down.
And remember, Kyle's true freshman year, he didn't win Big Tens. He lost to Morgan McIntosh that year.
Yeah, lost to McIntosh.
He had a Burak loss that year, his true freshman year. So that's when Gable hasn't lost since then. And even still, Kyle's an interesting one because he's not really a true heavy per se. Sure. He was still the best, but he had an Adam Kuhn loss there, and like the idea of Adam Kuhn beating Gable in folk style is just like not even a thought at this point, right?
He beat him when he was a high schooler.
He beat him when he was a high schooler, and then he beat him. The next year, soundly. I think he teched him once or twice.
Yeah, it was not close. We were shocked by that.
Not remotely competitive. So I think the idea of and that might have been the year that Kuhn beat Snyder, if I'm remembering correctly. I think that it was. And so Gable teched
that was 18, I believe, right? The 17-18 season?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
sounds
the
about
year
right.
Kuhn beat Snyder.
So it would have been 20. So it was a year later that Gable teched him. I mean, Snyder is certainly the most credentialed, and he's kind of like him being smaller sort of shifts the argument a little bit. Like there's no one 220, 230 pounds that beats Kyle, and Kyle probably could have been. But
what about Kurt Angle, baby?
No way.
I want to watch it.
Yeah, I want to watch it. But you're saying Kurt versus Kyle. I thought you were saying
Kurt versus Kyle. Kurt versus Kyle.
Yeah, I would take.
It's funny you bring up Kurt Angle, Ben, because here's my.
He was drinking Crown Royal with Kurt Angle.
My most recently downloaded song, Metal.
What?
Kurt Angle. Downloaded it Sunday night. It's fantastic.
Wait, he has what? A song?
He's got his WWF theme, walk-in song. Kurt Angle.
So that's how you got so fired up this morning, Shane. You freaking woke up
right there.
You put on Kurt Angle's theme song. You slapped yourself a handful of times.
Yeah,
and then you started commenting and came on and started yelling at us.
Next to, of course, and I'd highly recommend, the best of Howard Jones, the best from 83 to 2017, Howard Jones. Fantastic.
Who the hell is Howard Jones?
Howard Jones?
In the world. That's a list right here.
But who's Howard Jones, Shane?
Oh, I can't sing, but...
Well, what's his song? I mean,
he's got so many good ones.
He's a British musician? Is this
here we go.
So good.
What?
I will guarantee you
Howard
right now.
Jones.
Cut his mic. Cut him off.
It sounds like
Tyler.
It sounds like a conservative university in Alabama.
Here.
To Howard Jones.
Can you guys
Kill
hear it?
switch. Kill switch him.
No, don't kick him off. This is good.
I'm going to try to play it. Here we go. Can
There's
you listen? Here we
multiple
go.
Howard Joneses, I
Here we
guess.
go.
Wow.
Sounds like, sounds like Huey Lewis in the news.
Huey Lewis in the news.
Who
It's
Lewis in the
fantastic.
news?
So
Huey
that's
Lewis in the news is a top. Huey Lewis in the news is a top 10 all-time band. Top 10.
wow.
Oh yeah.
What a quake take! Oh my gosh! I thought your blood type pick was extreme.
Hey,
Huey Lewis,
guys, you can't make
top 5.
Listen, guys, you can't make this up.
Podcast.
So here's my most recently added. You'll see the WWF angle. You see Howard Jones, and right below him, my latest Huey Lewis in the News song I downloaded. Don't Look Back. I downloaded this on Sunday night. Huey Lewis. I've been to probably 100 concerts. I saw Huey Lewis at Summerfest about 3-4 years ago. The guy at the time is like pushing 70 years old, and I was like. I kind of man-crushed on him a little bit. I'm like, this guy's probably 70 and could probably get any 45-year-old woman there is. Huey Lewis is fantastic.
Go off, Huey.
The early work is a little too new wave for my taste.
Congrats, Huey.
Huey Lewis is so good. He's so good.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
This is too much. I've had too much fun. We shouldn't be allowed to have this much fun on the podcast.
This is great. Shane, open invitation. I have a question from our
Guys.
questions from friends. Okay, what's up, Huey?
The one thing I want to make real clear here, because on the flow side of things, I do the sales. Really enjoy it. Shout out to Jason Ford, who's just phenomenal boss. But anyway,
Way to classic
Jason
boss
Ford is so
suck up
good.
on that
Jason
line.
Ford's on a top
Fuck
list
kisses.
also. But with that
my
being
God.
said, big thanks to the guys at Defense Soap. Phenomenal people. They're sponsoring the 100 greatest all-time list. And I'm here to tell you this. If there's anything you take from me on this call, fantastic products. I'll be taking a shower here soon using Defense Soap. Every wrestler should have Defense Soap. Everybody. They do a ton for wrestling. They do a ton. Support those guys.
Defend what
And
you're built.
that's coming from here. I love that stuff. Fantastic people.
That was from the heart.
Fantastic.
I thought you were about to say
Fantastic.
Tracy Chapman Fast Car is the greatest song of all time. Period.
Well, now I'm
Hanging
gonna
on
bring it up.
broken glass.
Listen, I'm starting to wonder, Christian, if you have some kind of crazy superpowers that are in my head. Because I guess, seriously, if you would have asked me when I was probably 10, it might have been. There was a time in my life where Fast Car was my favorite song ever. I went to Marcus Amphitheater and I saw Tracy. Listen to this concert, guys. I saw Tracy Chapman open for Sting, and it was fantastic.
Oh,
Guess where I'm going Tuesday night, guys? Tuesday night, I'm seeing it for the second time. Going to Chicago Tuesday night. I saw this guy back in 1996. He was phenomenal, and I can't wait to see him again. Phil Collins.
oh my gosh.
Phil Collins. So good. So
This
good. I
dude
guess Phil's
loves
fallen on some hard times lately. Phil's fallen on some hard times. I guess health-wise, he's a shell of himself, but
How can you top the Tarzan soundtrack?
Great song.
Yeah. I mean,
All right. Oh, I gotta go. We've been having too much fun.
it's
I'm
only
done.
9:30. Where are you going,
done.
Ben? All
No,
right.
there's no medical forfeiting.
There's no
you're
medical-
not getting
Ben
that.
can't handle the pop
forfeit.
culture talk.
Medical forfeit. Hey, I have a wrestling question. We'll probably be talking about, the police here soon, but let's focus on this from Ohio Jaguar. More likely scenario, Penn State beats Iowa for the team title or Michigan beats Penn State for second. What is more likely?
Ooh.
That's a great
Does
question.
Penn State get Soriano or Hildebrandt?
Yeah, that's huge.
Nah, let's say they get Hildebrandt to kind of split the difference between nothing and a national title contender.
Then I say Penn State's more likely. If they don't get it, then I say Michigan. I think Michigan's going to be pushing these dudes, especially.
They're gonna be
you
very
remember,
good.
I predicted Michigan gets Soriano, so they're going to be pushing these dudes.
Dude, if they get Soriano, that is
They're good.
That's ridiculous.
Sean Bourmet does a phenomenal job.
One of the
Michigan
greatest NCAA
is
team race ever.
Yeah.
they're set. Michigan is going to be set. I mean,
Yes. Speaking
That'll
of
be a
Michigan, Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band, top 5 all time.
I've never
Night
seen Bob
Moves.
Seger.
Who's Night Moves?
Yeah.
Is that Bob
Seger's
Seger?
great.
Good call,
Seger's
man.
great.
Night Moves. Great song.
Moves.
Great song.
It is. It
Great
is a
song.
great song.
Oh man. All right, now I think I am good. I'm ready. I want to ask one more wrestling thing, and we can go. Shane, I'll give you the last word. You've
Last
hardly
word,
spoke up
Shane.
this entire time.
Yeah. This is what happens to me. I work out of my house. I don't get that much human interaction. So when I get it, it's pent up. Like I'm ready to. Yeah, this is what happens.
Well, Shane,
And you just go off about Huey Lewis in the news,
You ready
like
to
a
do
Patrick
that one,
Bateman.
baby?
two things. One, a major theme of FRL is me trying to get people to move to Austin, Texas, so we can hang out more. So please just come to Austin, and we're hanging out all the time. We're talking Huey, Tracy Chapman.
So much human interaction.
We have mats. You could literally return anyone onto the mat at any point in time.
I'll tell you. I'll give you a Matt return. A little Matt return comment.
Okay.
We're at the Olympic trials in Fort Worth in April, and one guy that I've always really liked is Joe Dubuque. I just got a good chemistry with it. I just
Spent a
like
lot
Joe
of time
a
with
lot.
Joe this week.
So Joe and I are at the we're someplace after the trials, and Chris Ayers is there, and Nate Jackson. That's a good group. Those Princeton guys you get to know those guys. They're an easy group to root for, and they're doing a phenomenal job. But I asked Joe Dubuque because one thing, guys, on my takes, I hate being wrong. Like being wrong to me, it's like, it's just, I don't want to be wrong. I'm never going to say anything for a shock factor. I want to be right. And I'll let you can ask guys like Andy Hamilton and Kyle Klingman if I'm right. And Ed Askren with the Robles thing. He knows. I mean, he knows. But I asked Joe Dubuque once because I think Matt returns. I just, you know how I feel about them. So I asked Joe Dubuque once. I go, Joe,
I get a little
is the
feel in my
Matt
pants
return
when I talk
stuff
about Matt
over-
returns.
I go, is the Matt return like intensity and preaching? Is it over the top? And Joe Dubuque looks at me dead serious and he goes, "You don't emphasize them enough." He goes, "I won national titles."
Shane, he was messing with you. He was
No, he
messing
wasn't.
with you. Yes, he was.
wasn't. He told me about his national
He was
championships.
just
He goes,
juicing you
"That's
up a
why I
little
won 'em."
bit.
No, he was dead serious. He goes, "I won national titles because of Matt returns." He goes, "That's why I won them." So
There it is.
I guess I would just tell everybody it's Matt return season. It's folk style season, which is, I mean, I like freestyle. I love folk style, and I'm looking forward to it's going to be a great year in college wrestling. Every year it's like, oh, it can't get any better. You sit at the national tournament in March, like, next year is going to be a step down. It never steps down.
Never.
It just keeps getting better and better and better. College wrestling's incredible right now.
It's the best. We love it. We love you, Shane. Thank you so much
Guys,
for hopping
I love
on.
you. And my last thing, too, guys. Last thing. You turn a guy twice and you take him down and you got a choice in the third period to win a national title or a state title. Pick top. Just pick top.
Turn
Guys,
him.
it's been fun. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, Shane. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, JD. And thank you so much to you. We love you for listening. Make an FRL part of your day. Happy Wednesday. It's Taco Wednesday in Austin, Texas. Sorry, Shane. Sorry, Ben. No tacos for you. Get your butts down to Austin, Texas. Let's eat some tacos. Goodbye.